This nonprofit has the hopeful-sounding name of A New Life for a New Generation, an apt moniker for an organization meant to help young mothers and their newborns. But in late March, New Life wrote Daryl Wayne Shelton a check for $25,000 for the purchase of this lot at 6743 Buena Vista Street. What for? Shelton claims New Life president and founder Markeisha Reed told him it would be used to store her nonprofit's vehicles, then also said she planned to build a house there for her grandchildren. But just 11 days after the deed was finalized in August, the Texas Department of Agriculture granted Reed's family member a license to produce industrial hemp on the property. Reed later bragged about the milestone on her Instagram page, telling her followers, quote, "I can now grow CBD." But when asked by us about nonprofit funds being used for the purchase, Reed quickly retreated inside a nearby smoke shop she owns.
Markeisha, I'm Dylan with KSAT 12. We'll hear about the funds that were used from New Life to pay for the hemp lot on Buena Vista.
What? No, come on, let's go. Let me get him in.
Sure.
Moments later,
I need my records back.
Reed told us through a locked door that she did not want to look bad on TV. The Texas Attorney General's office was made aware of financial irregularities at New Life in a complaint filed in mid-October, including the allegation that Reed has been using money received from the state and donors for her own personal gain. AG officials have not responded to multiple requests from the defenders for an update on the case. The land purchase is just the beginning. 20 months of bank statements provided to the defenders by a source within New Life reveal a multitude of questionable purchases, many of them for Reed's side business, R&J CBD Smoke and Vapor Lounge, conveniently located just a block away from New Life's headquarters. Questionable expenditures like this $714 payment for t-shirts in April, just 2 months before Reed officially registered the business. It was made from New Life to Toro Imports, a company that calls itself Texas's largest wholesaler of smoke shop products. The builder hired to refurbish R&J this summer confirms receiving this $2,000 New Life check signed by Reed as payment for some of her work. The woman, who asked that we not use her name, said she took measurements and pictures at New Life as well, but only ever did remodeling work at R&J. Even more disturbing, contractor Earl Greenwood was given a check from New Life for $20,000 in late March for water damage repairs inside its West Commerce location. But Greenwood told us in a taped phone interview he cashed the check and gave the money back to Reed, who then handed him $1,000. When we asked Greenwood if he did any water damage repairs, he told us, quote, "I did nothing in regards to the water damage." In fact, the landlord for that same West Commerce location confirms that he actually took care of the damage, paying another contractor several $1,000s to replace sheetrock and a pipe that burst during February's winter storm.
To see this happening in our town, I mean, it hurts.
Jason Mesa is regional director of the Better Business Bureau of San Antonio, which also accredits and approves charities through its Wise Giving Alliance. He says on top of the bank statements, New Life's tax paperwork indicates that something is amiss. Its latest publicly available 990 form from 2019, what Mesa describes as the gold standard to measure any charity or nonprofit, is blank under the sections that list program service accomplishments, a trend that appears in New Life's 2018 and 2017 federal tax filings as well. The 2019 990 also lists 0 under fundraising and shows that less than 20% of New Life's expenses are actually going towards programs.
So that itself would not pass a BBB charity accreditation right off the bat. But under the surface, there might be more going on that we just can't see. So yes, major red flag, a lot of holes in the 990 form itself. Expenses don't match up with what's going on with the money coming in. A lot of things just don't add up.
So how exactly does New Life's money come in? After being granted tax-exempt status in late 2016, it became part of the state's Alternatives to Abortion program. Funding flows from the Texas Health and Human Services Commission to an administrator called the Texas Pregnancy Care Network, or TPCN, which then reimburses New Life for providing services like diapers and formula and counseling for young moms. HHSC figures for New Life show it has received more than $2.5 million in reimbursements since the third quarter of 2018, including more than $1 million last year alone, making up a vast majority of its total funding from all sources. TPCN Executive Director John McNamara refused multiple requests to be interviewed for this story, and after saying he would answer questions via email, stopped responding when we inquired about his organization's agreement with New Life and what stipulations the nonprofit must follow when spending reimbursement funds.
There was no data, and there still, in my opinion, is relatively little data that provides any kind of accountability for this program.
State Representative Donna Howard is chair of the Texas Women's Health Caucus. She has sounded the alarm on the lack of transparency within the project, while her fellow lawmakers have expanded the program, known as A2A, to a budget of around $50 million a year. And while Health and Human Services has supposed safeguards built into the program, Howard says it does not have the staffing levels needed to properly monitor the spending of its contractors and subcontractors.
We're wasting taxpayer dollars on a program that, number one, doesn't tell us that it's doing what it says it's supposed to do, when we have tremendous need to help women actually get the health services they need.
And there's more. Tomorrow on the Night Beat, a $32,000 motorcycle, limousine rides, and then there's those trips we mentioned, funded with money meant for New Life programs. For the Defenders, Dylan Collier, KSAT 12 News.